What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jimmy here, and I'm starting a new channel called Dieting Without Vegetables. And this is the first episode, and hopefully a series of episodes that I hope to publish and share with y'all. And I am a self-proclaimed Vege-Hater. So, the agenda, explain to you why I started this channel. The basics of the diet, which is what this whole channel is centered around, and why it works. And then at the end of the video, I'll let you know that I'm gonna have another video, progress video, after I experiment for a few weeks, and then give you an opportunity to leave your comments. And the whole purpose of this is to make a community. I pretty sure I'm not the only veggie hater out there that needs to lose weight, so it's about time that we all get together and start helping each other. But first off, this is YouTube, so I have to give you an advisory that I'm not a doctor nor a nutritionist, so please consult with your doctor before using or doing anything said in this video. You should be monitored by a healthcare professional when dieting or doing anything that concerns your health. Please proceed to take this advice with caution. I am not responsible for anything said that could be wrong in this video, nor do I claim that anything I say is true/fact, just my opinion. I find it a little weird that I have to say I'm not responsible for anything I say. Obviously, I am responsible for anything I say, but essentially, I'm just trying to say that, take everything with a grain of salt and proceed with caution and just use your own best judgment when proceeding with this diet, because, it's just my opinion, and you should know, you should be an adult watching this video and know what's best for you. So, who am I? Well, I'm Jimmy. I'm just a regular guy, and my weight fluctuates just as often as my moods do. I'm about 20 to 35% body fat, which I'm overweight, basically. And what sparked this whole thing was I saw a picture of myself where I was jumping around the pool with my daughter, and I was horrified at what I saw. I'm probably the fattest I've ever been in my life right now, and it's kind of weird because I'm naturally skinny-ish, meaning I just let myself go so much. I'm what you would say an ectomorph/mesomorph, so my body tends to be skinnier, and so all my weight pretty much accumulates around my stomach and my triple chins. So there's the other end of the spectrum, which are endomorphs, which those of you who are predispositioned to be heavier, like your family is pretty heavy set, they call it big boned. I'm not like that. No one in my family is like that. I only get like the way I am now, which is like a pot belly and 3 chins, because of my shitty diet. My activity level doesn't really have too much to play with it. Whether I'm active or not, if I'm eating shitty, I have a gut, and I start to develop more than 1 chin. And I love my parents, but they didn't raise me right. So they never forced me to eat my vegetables as a child, and so I never eat my vegetables as an adult. And at formal functions, I can eat a salad, just so I don't seem so weird. But I always have the dilemma when I'm on a date with a girl, and if whether to have the conversation with her about, like, oh, I don't really like vegetables, so I prefer to eat, at places where I don't have to eat vegetables. But sometimes I just rather avoid the conversation, and I'll eat my damn vegetables at that point. But usually, if there are vegetables on my plate, I push them off to the side. And so whenever I hand my plate to somebody, I'm always a little embarrassed, because it's always a clean plate, except for like a corner of the plate that just has the stack of vegetables that was on my plate that I didn't even touch. I just, pushed it all on the side and never touched it. And so I never really have an empty plate, even if it's a good meal, because there's usually vegetables in that meal, and I just never touched it. And I know it's weird, but it's just the way I am, and I think you are too. So how the diet works is it's a multi-pronged approach, meaning I took the easiest and best components of other diets and brought it all into this diet as kind of like a cheat or a hack to diet without eating properly. If you want to do it the right way, then just eat your damn vegetables, eat moderate portions, and maintain a caloric deficit throughout the day. Meaning, eat less calories than your body expends during the day, which means you have to count your calories. However, if you're watching this video, that's just not reality for you, and you're tired of these health freaks and fitness gurus that are fascists telling you how to live your life. So, it's time to be real and do something different that you could probably actually stick to. And so that's why I created this diet for people like us who just can't eat our vegetables, but just like everyone else, we need to be able to diet as well. So step one of the diet, and I call it basically the simple hacks. So there's 5 parts in step one. The first step is down a bottle of water before every meal. And I'm talking about those plastic bottles, 16.9 ounces. Just down that bottle of water before you eat any meal. And what it does is your body can't distinguish whether it's hungry or thirsty sometimes. So you eat thinking you're hungry where actually you're just probably thirsty. And the secondary effect is it also fills your stomach. So your stomach is almost half filled with water before you start taking in any food. And it's better to be filled with water because there's no calories in water. And it's as filling as when you start loading up with food. So it has 2 effects in that, it signals your body that hey, there's already stuff in your stomach, so you're not going to eat as much. And then to add on to that effect is eat slowly. Imagine that even if you're eating alone, imagine that you're talking to someone, and it's not proper etiquette to talk with your mouth full of food. So take small bites and swallow that bite of food before you take another bite of food. And the slower you eat, the faster you'll be full without eating as much food. So essentially just stop pigging out. Eat like a human being and eat slowly and eat like you have some damn manners. The second step is when you're full, stop eating. Even if there's food left on the plate, just stop as soon as you're full. You're going to waste food, but that's okay. It's better to waste food than be fat. A simple hack for that is just use smaller plates. A lot of fitness gurus and health nets will tell you anyways that you should use smaller plates because it tricks your mind to think that you're eating more food. If you use smaller plates, less food will look like more food on smaller plates. So you still think you're eating a lot, but really you're not, just because you're using smaller plates. So that's a simple hack to do. Another thing you should do, and it's probably a cardinal sin for this diet, but you just have to do it, you stop drinking soda. Diet soda is okay because, we're obviously on this channel because we don't have the discipline to stop cold turkey on soda and sugary carbonated drinks. So diet soda is okay because diet soda doesn't have calories. Preferably you should just be drinking water, but preferably you should be eating your vegetables too. So, fuck that. So what I do though is I have a few diet sodas that I kind of like. So it's up to you. Just experiment. Just try a whole bunch of different diet sodas. I know for the most part they all taste like shit, but there's actually a few that are pretty good out there. Coke Zero. I mean, for the most part, I really can't tell the difference between regular Coke and Coke Zero. Actually, I could tell. Everyone can tell. But Coke Zero is good enough. But lately, I've just been, like with step one, part one of step one, you down that bottle of water, I refill that bottle of water, and then I put a dash of Mio, lemonade. So I just have a lemonade with my drink, because I just can't do water. And if you're watching this channel, you probably just can't do water either with your meal. I need a tasty beverage with my meal to make it good. But anything is better than full fat soda, which by full fat I mean soda with sugar in it. So diet sodas don't have sugar in it. They usually use Splenda or stevia or whatever. And the verdict's out on those. But if you think about it, would you rather take your chance with Splenda and stevia than sugar, which everyone knows sugar will kill you in the long run? So just pick the lesser of the two evils and go with diet soda or go with water with flavoring in it. And that will, in the long run, save you a ton of weight. Because in step one, the essential enemy here is sugar. Anything with sugar, which goes on to part 5 of step 1, which is cutting out all the sugar, as much sugar as you can, which means all the sweets, candies, chocolates, desserts. So whenever you have your regular meal, just cut out the dessert at the end. No cupcakes, cookies, ice cream, whatever. But obviously if you're on this channel, you're just like me, you have to indulge every once in a while. So if it's offered to you, or you just had a shitty day and you really need some ice cream, like me most of the time, I just give yourself that ice cream. Whatever makes you happy and would help you stick to this diet. Think of it like a cheat meal, you know? If you need a cheat dessert, go ahead and have it. If you have someone offer you a candy, don't be stupid. Just take the candy and eat it. You know you want it. But this part 5 actually rolls into step 2, which essentially this diet is like a stealth diet. You kind of don't want anyone to know you're dieting. And what I mean by that is pretty much no one's going to be able to tell you're dieting while you're on this diet, because in step 1, these are minor lifestyle changes. Even if you live with someone, like let's say you're married and you know your wife just starts noticing you losing a ton of weight, and she's like, "What is he doing to be dropping all this weight?" Really, if she doesn't notice that you down a bottle of water, that you've been skipping desserts, and you've been leaving your food left on the plate, she wouldn't even know that you're dieting. So that's the whole point of this diet. Is it's like a stealth diet. It's dieting without people knowing, and just throwing it out there like, "Hey everybody, I'm dieting, so don't try to feed me food or anything like that." People will think, there's something wrong with you. Just that's the beauty of this diet, is it's a lifestyle change, but it's in steps and it's minor. So rolling on to step 2. Step 2 is a little harder, and you can still eat shitty. I mean, that's the whole point of this diet. It's just something you can stick to, and for most of us, we're going to eat shitty every once in a while anyway. So, step 1, you could still eat whatever the fuck your fat big heart desired. But step 2, you're going to change the way you eat a little bit more. And so step 2 is called IMF versus IFBB, which means that you're going to change what you're eating and the frequency in which you eat. So there's 2 schools of thoughts. The IMF stands for intermittent fasting, which the Cliff's Notes version is you basically skip breakfast and you eat an early dinner. You have an 8-hour window to eat, and it's usually from 12 to 8 is your window to eat. And for me, this is the method I use, because for me, it's easy for me to skip breakfast. But I don't eat between 12 to 8. I mean, I'm way too hungry before noon. So I usually go between 10 to 6. That way I'm not eating so late, and I don't feel all full and my gut's about to explode by the time I'm trying to sleep. So I eat between 10 to 6. That's my 8-hour window. And even though I skip breakfast, I still basically have breakfast. I basically have a brunch and an early dinner, kind of a late lunch, which is like a lunner. So I'll have a brunch and a lunner, which, for brunch, you could still have your breakfast foods and with your lunch foods, and then for dinner, still have a dinner/lunch meal. And for me, that works. But for the rest of you, the method 2 might work better. Method 2 is called IFBB, which stands for International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness, which means that this is the method that most fitness freaks and bodybuilders use, which is eat more smaller meals, 6 to 8 small meals during the day. So you wake up in the morning, you do your cardio, and then you have your first meal right after cardio. And then 2 hours after that, you have your next meal. 2 hours after that, you have your next meal. And so you're constantly eating during the day, so you're never hungry, and your metabolism's always running. But that doesn't mean that you're having, like, a full meal every 2 hours. No, you're having meal/snack. So in this method, you're eating, like, sub 300 calories per meal. And typical meal would probably be a protein shake and a banana with this method. And there's more YouTube videos that go into these methods in more detail. I'm just simplifying it to make it easier to follow, and it's essentially you just need to be doing one of these two methods. Either you're doing intermittent fasting, which you give yourself an 8-hour window during the day to eat, or you're eating throughout the day, you're just eating smaller meals, keeping your metabolism running. But since these meals aren't so big, you're going to get hungry faster, but you're satiating yourself because you're eating more frequently. So either of these two methods will, in the long run, just give you a caloric deficit without causing you to be hungry throughout the day. Because if you're on one of these two methods, the biggest thing you're fighting is hunger. And that's what these two methods do, is satiate your hunger. So once you're hungry, it's preferable that you eat a perfect meal. And what I mean by a perfect meal are meals that maximize your macros. And your macros primarily are your proteins and your carbs. So these are 3 examples of the best meals that you could eat. 6-ounce chicken breast with half a cup of rice, and that gives you around 400 calories. If that's a good enough meal to satiate you, great. But variety is the spice of life, so you can't be eating chicken breast and rice every meal. So you can switch it up with salmon, you can switch it up with steak, and you can mix and match the proteins and the carbs. So you could have steak with rice, salmon with your bread, or chicken with potatoes. Doesn't matter, as long as you have some type of variation of this meal. And it sticks to the premise of this video, which is dieting without vegetables. None of these meals have vegetables, and all these meals don't have to be bland. If you're just like me, you can't eat a chicken breast with nothing on it. For me, though, luckily I've discovered Panda Express actually bottles their teriyaki now, and you can buy it in grocery stores. And that's what I do. I use the bottled teriyaki, I dump it all over the chicken breast, and I have chicken breast doused in teriyaki sauce with rice. And that's a great meal for me. 1, it's healthier than eating junk food, and 2, the calories are pretty low on that meal, and it tastes great. The Panda Express teriyaki sauce is pretty bomb. And then your steak, cook your steak normally. Cook it with butter, preferably margarine, and your spices. Whatever gets you to eat these meals. If you have to add seasoning, salt. If you have to add salt, just make sure you sweat it out at the end of the day, because you don't want too much sodium, because then you get hypertension. But it's better to eat these meals and make it a little unhealthy by adding butter or teriyaki sauce or whatever, than eating junk food at McDonald's or burgers at anywhere, any type of fast food. These meals are better than those types of fast food, but these meals will satiate you and give you the macros that you need to sustain you in the long run. Whereas those fast food meals aren't really good for you, and you'll notice the difference after a while. If you're like me before, always eating junk food and always eating takeout, Switching to these perfect meals, you'll notice a difference in your health. But I didn't forget my promise to you. This is a diet in stealth, or a stealth diet, which means whenever you're invited to go out on a date, hopefully, or out with friends and family, eat what you would normally eat with them. So it doesn't even seem like you're on a diet. But when you're alone and you're eating by yourself, or with your wife, then eat these meals. Eat these meals as often as you can, and as consistently as you can, because these are perfect meals. It gives you the macros you need, it sustains you, and you can switch it up so you do have a variety. But you could also eat healthy without eating these meals, just as long as you count your damn macros. And there's apps now available that you can put in, like, hey, I'm having a sandwich, and put in all the ingredients, the bread, the slice of turkey, the cheese, and you can see how many calories it is, and there you go. The whole idea of step 2 is just being more aware, of your eating. Being aware of when you eat, how often you eat, and what you're eating. Step 1 are just minor hacks. You still live your life the way you normally were, but with those little changes. And in the long run, that's going to help you. And then step 2 is just a little bit more drastic, so you could see more results and better results in a shorter amount of time. If you just do step 1, you'll see results. It'll just take longer. It'll take 3 months instead of a month. If you do step 1 and 2, then you'll see the results within a month. If you start eating these perfect meals and you start cutting out the sugar, then you'll start seeing results fairly quickly. And that actually leads into the next part of the video, where I talk about my next video. So my next video will be in about 2 weeks. Showing this video today, and in about 2 weeks I'll post my next video. And in those 2 weeks, the first week I'll just do step 1 and record my results. The second week I'll do step 1 and step 2 and record the results and let you guys know my findings. There is a step 3, but I'm a little hesitant to share it with you guys because it is going to be controversial, and I just don't want these fitness freaks to tell me how to live my life. I used to do it when I used to box, and it's really efficient, and it helps you lose a lot of weight in a really short amount of time, but it's kind of dangerous because unless you're in a controlled environment and you have somebody monitoring you, or you're able to monitor yourself closely, it can get out of hand and you could get hurt and really impact your health. So I kind of don't want to share it, but if there's enough comments and if there's enough of you that say, like, hey, just share it with us, we're grown-ass adults, let us make up our own mind, just share the knowledge, then okay, I'll share it with you guys. But you gotta let me know, and we gotta have a conversation about it. But essentially, this is our first video, and it's hopefully a series of videos. And so I want to create a community, so please leave your comments, let's have a discussion, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.